welcome back to One Mic Media. And we are here today with the Comic Cinema crew to discuss Season 2, Episode 1 of Loki. It is back after a 2-year hiatus. And we are very eager to discuss, give our facts and opinions and our theories for the upcoming season. I cannot do this without parts of the Comic Cinema crew. I'm gonna start with my man himself, the guy with the inspiration, the ideas, the creator himself, Mr. Josh Waring. What's going on, Josh?
It's your boy.
What up, Big Mike? Well, Mike Media. Hey, yo, Mike, you're gonna have to make me a moderator so I can, regulate in the comments and make sure people are liking the video, because we gotta help Big Mike out. Come on, guys, it helps the channel grow.
Please.
You know what I mean? It literally takes half a second.
Like, comment, subscribe, please. Also, want to bring in one of the people who I know loved Loki, one of the biggest Loki fans when season 1 came on. We did reviews with her as well. Over 2 years ago, believe it or not. Look how time flies. And also a big fan of Kang himself. We bring in Chloe Diz. What's good, Chloe?
Hey, what's up, guys? So ready to talk about Loki. Y'all know I've been geeking over Loki for it's really been 2 years.
Over 2 years. It ended in June 2021, the last season.
Oh no, time is gone. I'm so
Isn't that crazy?
I was
right?
let me put it out my mind, because I must have said it 2 years ago. Let me put it out my mind because then this week when you said, "Hey, it's coming on Thursday," I was like, "Oh snap!"
Yeah, it's back, and of course we got to talk to my man, a big comic connoisseur, we like to call him, along with our guy Dave, so he knows about the facts going on in the true stories. But let's hear his thoughts and opinions. My man, who's on a lot of shows with me, Mr. E Money. What's going on, E?
Yo, what up?
What's going on, E? How you been anticipating Loki? You ready for it?
Yeah, I've been ready for it, man.
Okay. Well, let's get right into it, guys. So, season 1, we remember it ended the last episode when he got to the end of time and he met up with He Who Remains / Kang. And at the end of that episode, Sylvie stabs Kang and then destroys the timeline at that particular point, push Loki back into the TVA. And then, things kind of go all crazy. So we're waiting so long to see what will happen since that point. So now we're here, and Loki supposedly was back in the TVA, but it's not the same TVA. And we start the episode with him running away from Mobius, who was like his best friend before, but doesn't know him initially. So let me start with you, Josh, right around the circle. How you felt about how the last season ended, how this season's beginning, and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, like you said, the first season of Loki was fantastic, and we were all anticipating, the second season, because at first we were wondering if there was going to be a second season, because we had no idea the direction Marvel was going with after, post Endgame. Mm-hmm. So this kind of carried the torch, if you will, similar to in my opinion, the first, Iron Man film. I feel like using the TVA and introducing Kang and multiversal, ramifications and causality, I think is very important, especially in the quantum realm. And it's interesting that Marvel's essentially teaching us about quantum physics, which I think is very interesting, especially when it comes to Kang and how he does things in his power set. But in terms of episode 1, I mean, let's be honest. We all knew that, Loki came back into the wrong universe. It was obvious. I thought that was obvious, you know what I mean? Or the wrong timeline, whatever you want to call it. And, I just wanted to have that answer resolved, and it was in the first scene. So I thought that was great to leave off exactly where you stopped, because, factoring in time being the overwhelming theme the entire time, I thought was very clever.
All right. E, how you felt about how it ended and how it's beginning now? For the last.
All right, so when it ended, I felt the first season ended with a bang, so I loved it, and I couldn't wait to see more Kang. I actually. So then when this season started, and it came on, I'm okay with it. It was good. It was entertaining, but I want to see Kang, man.
he said, "I'm here for Kang."
Yeah, I ain't care for the time slipping.
You got statues and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, I mean, statues behind a wall, couple little.
Chloe, how you feeling so far? Well, let's talk about the first scene where Loki and Mobius don't know each other, and he's getting away. How you felt about how it started this episode?
Listen, I'm on the E Money bandwagon because he likes action. And it
Yeah.
started off action packed. There was no lull. It was just like, bam, we're in it, which I love when there's a cliffhanger. And then it, like how Josh said, starts right off where it finished. Like, I've been anticipating this for a minute so much that I put it out my brain. So I wouldn't be like, oh, gotta wait another year. So I was so excited. And I'm going to say, I'm okay that they did not show King yet. Because when they do that reveal like they did the last season, I wanted to be like, oh snap, it's going down like that. Like that's what I want. And I felt like if they did it, this episode would have been way too premature. Like I like to build up.
I agree with Chloe. I think that right away would have been too early. They already killed He Who Remains last season, so they got to build up to this other version of Kang, or for Loki to actually see him. So I feel like it's part of their stories. And plus, it's what so it's a whole season, so we got time. I feel like. Josh, speaking of the action she talks about, so we see Loki get away from Mobius and B-15, and he jumps down, and then he winds up jumping on the cab, and then he goes through the window and sees the dude Casey. But what happens there is that he starts with E alluded to, the time slipping, and then when he comes back, the floor which was cracked is fixed, but the crack you can see was there. So right away you see he's in a future time. So how are you thinking watching this part of the episode, Josh?
Absolutely. I thought that was great how they used the causality of the multiverse and how time impacts that, because that's going to be a very important component going forward in understanding the storylines, because I feel like unless you're really into Marvel and the MCU and watching the shows and waiting for the films, like this is where they might lose a lot of people. And they slowly been demonstrating that with the projects and what they're prioritizing in terms of what they initially made them fantastic, and were much more superior to Warner's, right? But at this time, they set such high standards. I think they're it's hard to live up to what they cranked out before. So I hope they use like this model for the show, because the quality of the show and how it was shot, I'm just like, if you invested the same energy in every single project, Disney Plus, I think we have a better result. But it's clear that they haven't. And Loki, and to a close point, there's only a couple shows on Disney Plus that you're really waiting for the next season, and Loki is one of it because it's quality.
E, how you felt with what Josh saying about the cause and effect part, the time slipping? And, it's more like the Back to the Future thing where something happens in the past that affects the future, which I like, me personally.
Right. I mean, personally, it was a great idea. But, I don't know. It was a great idea, but see, I felt like we were focusing more on this Kang character that we saw at the end of the first season.
He's dead.
No. If you remember at the end of the first season, at the end, the very end, we got Victor Timely.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I got left off of that part, that's what I was focusing on, wanting to see more of Victor Timely.
Okay.
But the time slipping, it was all right. It was just, it was just weird how the problem solved itself.
Okay.
In the matter.
Well, what you mean by that? Hold on, I'm lost.
What I mean by that is like, all right, you went to what's his name from the Goonies?
Oh, okay. Wait. I'll get there. Hold on. Hold that thought, though. Hold that thought. Chloe, how you feeling about the causality and, like I said, the floor cracking, but then being the crack still being in the future? So them showing time slipping, but how one thing causes one thing to affect another later on.
Okay, so I think it was the ultimate pump fake. Like I swore at the end of last Loki that he was in another Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that, and Josh can attest to this, I screamed. I was like, "Oh snap! He traveled in time! Like he went back in time." So for me, that was like why I think this episode they focused on the time jump thing, so they can let you know and establish like, hey, he's not in a different universe. He's in the TVA universe maybe, and he's going back and forth that timeline, like outside of time or something. I don't know. It's basically he's in his own world and he's moving linear through time instead of like parallel. Like it's not like he's jumping to another universe.
Yes, time being cyclical, just like the sacred timeline that's in like a circle, right? So same concept as the character, Hu Wang's character, Ouroboros, which
Yes.
is the snake eating his tail, and esoteric lore that literally represents what everything the multiverse represents. I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or OB, what you call them, stuff like that.
Yeah, OB.
OB,
400
OB.
years.
That was fun. I like that.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
talk about it, but
In 1
It was
second.
good. It was good seeing him. It definitely was.
Well, he'll be like a big part of this whole season apparently. So, or you'll do more than see him. But we see that Mobius and B-15 they get called in to the judge, I guess, for helping Loki last season, or the timeline being messed up, and we see this whole council they got going on who makes decisions. So, E, let me start with you this time. How you feeling about them and that scene?
Now, is this the scene where they were all in the meeting and
Yeah.
everything was going to shit
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yeah.
All right, so I definitely like that, and I needed to see that. One, because the woman was missing, and I wanted to see if they was going to mention her, and they did. They was wondering where she was at and where she dipped off.
Renslayer. Yeah.
Yeah, Renslayer. If somebody killed her or not. I like that. Another part that I was fucking with was the two factions on how they didn't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, right, it's over. It's over, man. The jig is up. The timekeeper ain't real. You feel me? Like the jig was up. It was over. And motherfucker still was trying to make it like some kind of order.
I like my man who was in there sleeping half the time. He had me cracking up.
Hell yeah. Knocked out. I didn't even notice it until TJ said something.
She did?
Yeah, she was like, yeah, he over there asleep. Somebody sleep.
Cool, I'm gonna go to you next. How you felt about them being called to the council and the council itself, and how they're making these decisions going on?
I don't know. For me, it kind of was like solidifying that when Sophie killed He Who Remains, it changed everything. Like, because if he was still alive, I mean, if she didn't kill him, I don't know. It just ensued chaos. So I was like, oh, this is how they would act in chaos. So I like that scene because you're expecting them to be still like strict and, by the book, but then they kind of just like start having these new ideas. And I think that was that after the jet ski part.
Yeah, it was after the jet ski part with
so like
X5. Yeah.
Yeah, so like even then showing the jet ski kind of showed that He Who Remains getting killed, like completely changed all of TVA, past, present, future. Like it just kind of changed stuff.
Yeah. And Josh, I know how much you like politics and things like that. So seeing that council and them call into that. Also at the same time, we saw Loki go in the past in the same room, and him hearing the conversation between Renslayer and Kang, or He Who Remains, I guess, at the same time, and then come back to the future. Talk to me about all of that. How you felt about this whole seeing how it played out?
Oh yes, that was wonderful duality in the scene. I love how he had to go to the location where the events were taking place so he could time slip at the right time, and then you can see, because it's Loki, the god of mischief, he can eventually start to conjure and control it himself once he it gets used to it. So I thought it was great that he was gradually learning that skill in real time, and it kind of felt like a video game almost. He just kept leveling up his understanding of that ability to do that. And then the culmination in the scene, I thought, again, was a wonderful parallel of how time is cyclical again, because it comes back of an event that'll happen here will happen again in the future at a certain time, and it's cyclical. So it's demonstrating that narrative, like almost like a heartbeat in the entire episode. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Also, we saw that what he saw in the past was, like he said, the king's present on the wall, but then the future was covered up. But he uncovered it so they could see that it's not the timekeepers doing this; it's one person who's handling this. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. But we do see, I guess, one of the generals who wants to go after Sylvie and whatnot.
Right.
And I don't know what's up with her and that in the one X5. I don't know if that's like her boyfriend or son. I don't know what's going on with that situation. But he's down to go after Sylvie. But they want to send everybody after Sylvie, as we see at the end of the show. because they feel like what Sylvie did was wrong, stuff like that. And and I don't know if you know Josh, but that was Lysa Arryn from Game of Thrones too, by the way.
I did notice her and
Yeah.
her husband-son relationship with someone who may not be her son.
And Sylvie was wrong. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Thank you. I made a whole video about it. E. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sylvie was definitely wrong. I agree with that.
definitely wrong.
Meanwhile, though, Mobius so Mobius now recognizes Loki as Mobius. They're reunited, let's say, and he tells him about that he did get to the end of time, their whole fight they had, and that Sylvie, kicked them back in there, and that he who remains is dead. And Mobius is kind of like having a hard time understanding this, but meanwhile, Loki is time slipping. So Mobius decides to take him down to, as y'all said before, OB. So E, go ahead. You were talking about it earlier. How you felt about them going down to see OB and them realizing that he was time slipping. At least OB realizing that.
Yeah, I love the. All right, so there was a couple things I liked about them going to see Obi. First of all, it was good to see the boy from the Goonies, especially in a Marvel property. Second, Mobius didn't remember knowing him. I found that real odd.
Yeah.
And it made me think, how many times did Kang wipe the memories of these people from the TVA?
A lot.
You get what I'm saying? That shit, like
even Wrestler. Remember, she was a whole teacher or something like that.
Right.
Last season or whatever. Principal, I think. Yeah.
So it's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what's really been going on?
Yeah.
How many times they got to be white?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Do you think they're being white though? I don't think they're being white.
What you think?
I think there's because I feel like last season, I could be wrong, but I feel like there were like multiple Mobiuses. There's like thousands of him or something.
I think it's different ones, different timelines. Is that what you're saying?
I think that there's like a bunch of Mobiuses that do the same job at the TVA. Like I think there's more than one Mobius. I don't know where I saw that at, but I think that was like a theory.
That was on New Rockstars, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, there's like more than one. Maybe this is a spoiler alert. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting two to two together, but I think it's different Mobiuses. And the one that he met was not that Mobius. It was a different one. Because remember, it was on New Rockstars because they were talking about how he came back and there was like a coffee cup stain or something, a mug stain on the thing, and he doesn't remember leaving that because there was another Mobius who did that. So I think there's a bunch of him running around.
So you think it was another one who met OB in the past, not this one? Okay, all right.
We'll see. I don't know. Could be
wrong. Yeah. No. It's a good theory.
I mean, that could explain who pruned. We'll get there.
Well, initial meeting with OB, as I said before, and I'll get to you, Josh, next about like it was the whole thing. Now that was the best part of the show to me, the OB part of it. I do like the banter between Owen Wilson and Quan there, and I thought, like he said, it was good to see him. He was also in Everything Anywhere All at Once last year, which is also a time traveling movie. So it was good to see him back on screen.
Multiverse, great casting by Seraphin. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. He's good. He's good at what he does. But what happens though in this scene as well is once again as Loki time slipped to the past and telling OB stuff in the past is coming in his new memory in the future. So Josh, how you felt about that? How that was happening?
I thought that was fantastic, and again, great. Time causality. I thought that was fantastic because if we notice it, literally as simple as it is in the scene, they go down to see OB in present time, and then Loki goes back in time in the present, right, to create a memory in the future. Done. Mic drop. That scene was incredible.
I agree with that. Chloe, how you felt about that?
I've always wanted that scene. Like I love time travel.
Yeah.
But linear time travel, like it took me a while to wrap my brain around the whole multiverse thing. But like the time travel aspect, like Back to the Future, where anything you do in the past can affect the future. This was kind of like a very condensed version of that, and it was like funny too at the same time. So I love that scene. That was like my favorite scene.
Mine too, yeah. You can say, I do remember him now. Stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I love that. That was pretty cool. And Butterfly Effect. Anything doing the past, picture, future. So that was one of the ones back in the day as well. But they do wind up saying that he has to, I guess, prune himself at a certain time also creates this machine. Forgive me, I don't know all the different terms. A lot of different stuff happening here, but
Yeah.
Temporal oral device.
there you go, Josh. Whatever it's called. Yeah, temporal device, and then that Mobius has to wear it, and go outside and take care of the time. What is it? I don't know. All right, I'm lost. Anyway, I'm not lost, but there's a lot happening.
The temporal loom, Miguel.
Loam. There we go. Okay. So meantime, though, as they're walking down the hall, they say there's this book. There's all the rules of the TVA that he wrote himself, Obi, and gave it to Loki. I think this book gonna play a part in the future and stuff like that. Like something about these rules that need to be followed. Any thoughts on that, Josh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they put it in the credits, so clearly it was that important, right? So I think it's going to be pivotal to understanding the mechanics of the TVA reality. Like, what exactly are they inside of time, outside of time? You know, relative to time. You know how they connect to other multiverses. I think it's the manual on the TVA and all the multiverse, in my opinion, or at least how the TVA can control the multiverse.
Okay. Your thoughts, E, on that?
Nah, I was just thinking, right? Because I got confused a couple of times. Wasn't like shit crashing and falling in the TVA?
Inside?
Yeah, like when he
Yes.
was like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right. I'm not tripping,
With the electricity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, and then the one he was at when he was with his Mobius, nothing was going on.
Because it was in the past.
So that was the past.
Hmm.
See how weird that is. So if that was the past, they should know who Loki is, honestly. But
Right.
I don't know.
But they did when they first what's almost the character again, Mobius. There we go. When he first meets Loki, he has Loki all figured out.
Yeah, he knew Loki, but I feel like that was the Mobius that was with Loki when he first disappeared when he was chasing Sylvia in season 1.
No. Okay.
Oh, no.
So,
Go ahead.
so the Mobius that was in season 1 was, let's say, present day Loki. But when Loki comes back from killing Who Remains, that's in the past. So Mobius wouldn't have known Loki yet. It's not in his. That's why.
It's not. So he don't know who he is yet.
Right.
And also, am I wrong? But I don't think that Loki was a threat yet because He Who Remains didn't make the sacred timeline. Because remember, if you look back at last season, he said the sacred timeline, everyone had to be pruned to make that timeline work. So all Lokis had to be pruned. So when he went back in time in the TVA, there was no sacred timeline, so he didn't have to be pruned. He wasn't like a threat yet, so nobody knew who he was. Like they knew who he was, but they didn't. It wasn't like, oh, we got to eradicate him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like that. Yeah. So the temporal loom. So this is a very, very complicated mission, but we do see that he does get dressed, put the duct tape on his on his helmet and stuff like that. But Loki, wow, Loki that has his own mission, but he slips again back into another part of the past where he can't find any of the time sticks to prune himself. Anyway, Mobius is out there. Time is running out, stuff like that, and then we get a phone call, Matrix style, and then he goes over there and he sees Sylvie, and then he gets pruned. So, Josh, you were speaking to it. Go ahead and speak to it now. You know what happened, who might have pruned him, how did the whole thing take place, how did you feel about the temporal loom mission there? What do you think about the whole thing?
Oh yeah, I thought it was a very complex mission with a whole lot of stakes.
Yeah.
And I thought they executed that very nicely. I appreciated that. And you know, for Loki, I'm still curious who did prune him. I still think it's a alternate Mobius potentially, and I'm just curious who it is. So I think that'll be cool to figure out. And it was interesting this entire scene, you know, seeing the temporal loom, and then you had to get the temporal aura device to get Loki, I guess his essence, his soul back into the reality. So I thought that was very interesting, that entire scene. And you know, essentially he was in Mobius was doing a spacewalk, but you know, he wasn't in space, he was kind of in time, which is interesting.
Chloe, any of your thoughts on the whole mission there, and also what happened to Loki at the end?
I think it was a way to simplify Josh. Like what you're saying, Josh, makes so much sense because it's kind of like a visual of what that is esoterically. So it's like if you see it, you see it, but if you don't, it's kind of like it simplifies time travel, like what he had to do. Everyone knew he had to do a mission to get Loki to snap back to that timeline. So it was like a very simple way to illustrate a very complex topic, if people were to say.
And they did that in a brilliant way. I agree completely.
Yes.
You got any ideas who you think might have pruned them, Chloe?
I think it's either two people. It's either Loki pruned himself from the future, because technically, wouldn't there be two Lokis if he went to the future? That's the part that I always get confused. Like, is there another version of yourself? Because Flash, we watched the Flash, and they kind of showed that. I wonder if it's going to be the same in Marvel. I mean, in MCU, and then, or it's Mobius,
Okay.
or maybe it's he who remains. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. E, your thoughts on the whole thing? Who might have pruned them, bro?
All right, so first, when it came to pruning him, I thought it was what's her name again? Renslayer.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
that's true. Could be her too. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of her, and it was complex. I mean, it was real complex watching that shit. But at first, I thought Mobius' skin was definitely gonna come off. I can't, you know what I mean? When he read the shit with the skin, I'm like, what the fuck? His skin came off. He's like, I'm not gonna make it. So I'm thinking the bull's skin gonna be dripping off his
This
body.
is Loki, not Gen V, bro. Not Gen-
Right. I know.
If it was Gen V, definitely, yeah.
They're not gonna go that deep. But I heard this season is dark. I did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I heard this season is dark.
I can see that. Well, Loki does wind up where he needs to be, and he actually winds up saving Mobius. First thing he says, we gotta find Sylvie. So I'm guessing we're gonna start with the Sylvie of it all. I don't know if you guys stayed for the post-credit scene or not, but there was one, and we see Sylvie walking in 1982 McDonald's, and our Sylvie walking in 1982 McDonald's
In Oklahoma.
So, Josh, what do you anticipate happening next with the way it ended here in this episode?
Well, I see, we'll see how soon they introduce Kang, right? Either save it for the last episode again. That would be interesting if they do it that way.
I don't think so.
No, I hope not.
So I'm prepared for that. I'll be okay with that either way because they're not going to fill it with too much fluff. Personally, I don't think. This is one of the IPs that I think they're really trying to be
I think it comes episode 3, in my opinion. So
okay, that's fair. I could definitely see that. And then I think it's going to be interesting, how they incorporate, things like Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange. If they tie a bow on all those things, that to make them have more relevance and more stakes, and make it more interconnected, which is what we love the most about Marvel in the first place. I feel like you really need to big up all those properties and kind of like come up together, because you don't want it more separated as it is. You need more continuity.
Agree. Chloe, what do you see happening next? How does episode ended? I should say.
So Josh, you made up a really good point about the guy's name Obi, how it means like a snake eating his tail. So if that means that, then this is kind of like a prequel to what we've already seen, because they're technically starting at the beginning of time. So it's like a prequel to the ending of some. So it's like watching a movie, but watching the ending first and then going backwards. So I think that's pretty dope if that's the case.
Nice.
And I think the next episode, my prediction, E-Money, is that we're going to see the king, that's the scientist, the next episode. The one that you were talking about.
Oh, Victor Timely.
Yes, Victor Timely. Yeah. I think he's going to be introduced first because he's the one, I think he's the first king. He is the king. He's the king who opened up the portal so he can go see other kings.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to meet him first. That's my prediction.
Right.
Okay. E?
I'm hoping, is this for the whole season or just
next episode? What you think?
Next episode.
Or yeah. It can get too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we get to see Sylvie run into the Kang she deserves to run into. That's what I'm really hoping for because she caused a big mess. So especially when he winked at her before he died and said "see you soon," like I
Yeah,
really hope she runs into the right Kang.
yeah.
Well,
Go
I
ahead,
have a
Chloe.
question. I have a question. So, if I'm correct, the last season he said, "I'll see you soon," because he's lived this loop already mad time, and he
Right.
said this is the first time it's been different. So I think that I don't know if he changed his. I don't know. I think this time
I thought he said
maybe
I'll see you
something
soon
happened.
because there's more versions of him gonna be
Right.
unleashed after that one.
That, but I also think he's going to see her soon too because he's who remains after the war, and the war always happens over and over and over and over.
Mm.
And that's why he made the sacred timeline so that the war will pause momentarily. Like, and he paused it for a very long time, and then it went back in the loop, right?
Yeah, I could see that. I wonder if he who remains ends up being the Kang who was first dealt with in
Oh
Quantumania.
yeah, Ant-Man King. That's true. That's a good
Mm.
prediction.
Mm,
I forgot about him temporarily.
mm. Yeah,
Because
because I don't
he
know
would
where
literally
he
miss
went.
it. He would
He could
miss
have
the whole
died.
war.
Right.
Oh, and then when he came back, he would be the one who remains.
Yep.
And then he would make a sacred timeline so it stays that way. So he doesn't necessarily win. He just wins by like default.
And he said that he lived a million lifetimes, so he could have just went back in time and observed what happened, and then he understands it because he has the time to do that.
Yeah.
That could be that could be true. Uh, Josh, you got some points about that one. But speaking of the Kangs, I mean we got a long, I guess, story happening with Kang. So we got we already got Loki, then we got Quantumania, and now we getting this. So like, where do y'all? And this is just off subject, just because Loki was kind of short and not a lot happened. But what do y'all anticipate us seeing him next? How about you, E? Because you're a big MCU fan. Kang after Loki.
Um, After Loki, I hope we see him in Deadpool 3. I hope we see him in I mean anything that has to do with like TVA and stuff like that. I hope we see him a lot. I hope we see him with Thor. I hope he runs into Thor. I like Tom. He's one of the actors I feel like has sat there and said, "Listen, bump all them other gigs. I'm Loki."
Right,
So
right,
they
but not,
they
but not, but
have.
not, but not Loki. I'm sorry. We're gonna see Kang pop up next. I'm saying, not Loki.
Oh, I want Kang in everything. Kang
Okay.
should be popping up in everybody. He should be everybody's villain. Everybody.
Okay. Josh, any thoughts on where he might pop up next, bro?
Don't get us hyped for all them Kangs and not use them.
Facts.
I agree with E Money. That's why I think he'll have a part in the Marvels somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Chloe, what are your thoughts on Kang?
Well, I Googled it and it looks like he's going to be in Avengers Secret Wars in 2027.
Yeah, that's a long
Yeah.
Definitely.
time.
Yeah,
So,
he's in Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars.
But he got to be
yeah.
a setup before then. I would hope so. I mean, that's
I
like
don't
a
know. I don't
I
know.
feel like they're going to make one of the Kangs the Beyonder.
To be who? The Beyonder?
Yeah. Because the Beyonder is the real villain of Secret Wars.
Hmm.
I think he might pop up in Fantastic Four, honestly.
That's the next
Before
movie
Secret Wars. No, next movie's the Marvels. That's
on the Marvels.
yeah. Fantastic Four ain't even been casted yet. Like they got a while before that happens, but I think that's where he
Mm-hmm.
pops up next. I don't think he's gonna be in Deadpool. I think Deadpool already overstuffed. Don't need nobody else in Deadpool, and I don't even know what else is next year. But that's what I think about. But I know they do have to get some more development if we're gonna believe him as the big bad in Secret Wars and Kang
He needs
Dynasty.
to be in. I'm telling you, it needs to be Kangs popping up on everybody's timeline, wrecking stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Well,
it will. I think that's why they was, Jonathan Majors kind of dodged a bullet there to say because I think he's like a huge part of the next phase.
Yeah,
Like they can't
yeah.
replace him if they invested too much.
And some staff already said that in the press, so they have big plans for Kang specifically.
Hmm. And which I think what E Money said, I think he gonna show up in every single movie.
Yeah, even if it's like a post-credit scene, he should show up at some point. I agree with E on that part.
Or maybe they're gonna use the timeline to jump back to scenes from the movies.
Nah, see, that's them being scared to play in the sandbox. I don't want that. I'm sick
You
of
don't
that,
want
Marvel. I want Marvel to go in. I want Kang to pop up and be wrecking shit, and they gotta stop him and kill him. Each one. Look how many of them it was. Each one. Come on.
Yeah, but they got
Don't cheat us.
But hold on,
Cheat us.
hold on, E. But they got their own villains to kill. You know what I mean? In their own movies.
Nah, they all
Nah,
villains should be the Kang.
King. Yeah.
It should be Kang. If we go and start doing stuff, we did it with Thanos. Do it right with Kang.
Like for example, next year you got your boy Captain America: New World Order. He facing off against.
He should be facing Kang.
I think King gonna be popping up in everybody's movie
Yeah, he should be, man. I think it's goofy.
as different versions.
E Money, I agree with you 1,000%. But with all due respect to Anthony Mackie and the new Captain America, I don't think he is equipped to deal with Kang at
Of
all.
course not.
At all.
He's getting a vibranium suit.
He already got him already.
I'm saying with the suit,
he only
he's not
got wings.
equipped.
Oh, that's right. It don't matter. He's still getting chipped.
He's not equipped.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. I read that Falcon in the comic books, and that boy was equipped. That boy was equipped with tech.
Absolutely, but not this Falcon.
He was actually this Falcon.
Man, yo, you love your boy Malky. I don't know why.
Nah, I don't love Mackie. It's Mackie got to make sure he takes this serious. Like he's so busy trying to outdo Chris that I hope he does it right. Because he wants to catch up to the fight scene. He wants that. Remember the fight scene he had with the UFC fighter on the boat. He wants to have a fight scene to top that. It's like, but bro, you got to make sure Cap is not a joke, because Black Falcon in comic book Cap was not a joke.
Well, I mean, we hope so. I think the problem is, I'm sorry, in my opinion, Anthony Mackie is the wrong person to make that a reality. I'm sorry to say, bro. Like, you seen him in what's that show? From the video game on Peacock. What's the show, E? About the
Twisted Metal.
Come on, man. You seen that? Come on, man.
Yeah, but Twisted Metal,
Metal,
the game is quirky like that. So for it to be like that, it was like that. Like that's exactly how it really is.
He had a dude push up against the wall saying, "Sing the thong song for me." Like, come on, man.
That was stupid.
I was like, yo, this your cap? Is this your cap? Like, come on, man. Nah, I can't.
Like niggas don't ask like, yo, who wrote this shit?
Right.
Check.
Check,
bro. I see it.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you for coming on, man. I know you guys busy in your lives. 8 o'clock now, so thank you for the first episode of Loki. Hopefully we can get together next week as well. We should be back hopefully on point next week with the Power Talk. I'll be back on Wednesday with Beyond the Trenches, my weekly football show, which gets bigger and better every week. And of course we got the One Mic Media, like Josh said. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. We got the One Mic Media merchandise now, stuff like that too. Made by Blinged Out Cuties, stuff like that. So she definitely knows what she be doing. But I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next.
All right. Peace.